All right, welcome to Bitcoin and Beyond, where it's been a while since I've done a stream, broadcast, podcast, whatever you want to call it. To be honest with you, there's too many things to count as for what I need to cover. But the big thing to talk about is obviously what I titled the video. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things here. So we're going to start just with the big news. I'm kind of going to just jump in. And thank you for bearing with me as I had a little break there. Now, obviously the CoinGeek conference has been going on to talk about the real Bitcoin, BSV. And a lot of really interesting projects were announced, talked about, all that kind of stuff. And we're going to talk about those. Some of them, unfortunately, not a lot of information about, since I think a lot of them were presented yesterday at the Developers Day. There's some weird streams out there that, or not weird, but low quality streams that I've started to watch. Things I'm really interested in seeing are like things like Paymail. So if I come to the money button, you can see here, it's a little cryptic at this point because we don't have a lot of details. But basically, it sounds like all of the wallets have worked on a new payment system where I can pay to email addresses, and those email addresses can be linked up to wallets. Now, how this is working or how it's going to work is really interesting to me. So that's one of the things. The 3 finalists for the hackathon, all those projects look extremely interesting. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So first thing we're going to talk about is obviously, in a very weird twist of turn of events, I guess, is Craig Wright is now openly being referred to as Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, anyone who has a brain probably already knew this or understood this to be true. But I have to admit it was a little actually jarring to see Jimmy Nguyen introduce him as Satoshi Nakamoto. And it seems like this is going to be kind of all out. I think I saw Craig post somewhere that he's going to do the Steve Jobs bit. So he's really going to just own this and tell us the whole story. Now I'm not gonna speak for him, but I guess I will just talk about the fact that for those of you that don't know, so I guess where should I begin? All right, so I guess I'll start just generally. So who is Satoshi Nakamoto, right? So we have actually this great website, the Satoshi Nakamoto Institute. Is this the one? This might be the one that kicked out Daniel Krawietz. I get them mixed up. I know Derek McGill started a new one, so there's a few different ones of these, but they all quote Satoshi, which is the nice thing. Now everyone says so. I'm going to cover a few things. So I thought I had a little clip of this, but I didn't. So luckily we had a nice tweet here from Marianne that says, Jimmy Nguyen asks, "Did you create Bitcoin?" And this is how it started. If you didn't watch it, and Craig Wright answers yes. So that's how the whole thing started right off the bat. No hesitation. Just, yep, that's the way it is. Now, for some people, they're never going to believe, right? They're never going to believe. But actually, Craig Wright actually lines up pretty well with what Satoshi Nakamoto was saying in 2008, believe it or not. So everything that you find that Satoshi talked about is everything that Craig Wright has been talking about. Now, this is a problem for a lot of people because a lot of people, like, for example, Peter McCormick. So Peter McCormick allegedly, I'll believe it when I see it. He is apparently going to take Craig Wright to court. He's decided to take him to court. This was his tweet, I think, yesterday or today. A huge thanks for all the messages of support. An Australian registered as a citizen from Antigua and Barbuda, financed by a Canadian, is looking to use the liberal laws of my home country to sell a lie. I look forward to defending this. Craig Wright is not Satoshi and is a moron. Okay? So this guy's gone all in on this bet that Craig is not Satoshi. Now, I actually reached out to him. I tweeted at him saying that I was willing to sit down and show him publicly available information that makes a very strong case that Craig Wright actually is Satoshi. I then DM'd him just saying, hey, by the way, this is a real offer, and if you wanted to, I would do it in private. And I said that not because I'm like being a dick, and I kind of wish I could show you the messages, but I will not show you the messages right now. Maybe later. But the root of it is that he pretty much was like, well, he needs to sign with the keys, right? That's all I want. And I said, okay, well, there's no saving him. At this point, he's going to go all in on this story. So I kind of let him be. Now, what's really, really interesting is like this guy has a family. Okay, this guy has a family, and he's really going to go all in on this lawsuit. Now, I can't explain it to his motivation, but I mean, yikes. I mean, I actually felt bad for him. I think he's just kind of getting manipulated by the crowd, right? Because if you look at all these people, that are backing him up. Obviously, everyone knows that Craig Wright couldn't be Satoshi Nakamoto. Look at all of these Twitter handles that are supporting him, right? Kind of remarkable here. And again, so I actually believe him that he's not actually... I think he actually believes this. He thinks... Oh, look, he didn't sign with the keys. I'll show you what I tweeted, if I can find it here. Okay, so he said, for those of you that think this is about clout and promoting a podcast, trust me, it never was and is a false economy. I think he meant dichotomy. One thing I refuse to do is accept or say in court that Craig Wright is Satoshi and that BSV is the real Bitcoin. So I told him, I said, I believe you. I actually do believe him. I don't think he's actually doing this to promote himself. I think he's really caught up in this like martyr, story or whatever. And so I told him that I would meet with him, and at least like before he makes this decision that's probably going to bankrupt his family, I'd try and help him. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to take me up on that, and so that is what it is. And for anyone that's listening to this and you're like, well, what's the publicly available information? I've actually covered most of it in a YouTube video before called The Craig Wright Timeline. And it's actually only some of the information. There's actually a lot more. But here's the link right here. I'll put it in the chat if you want to watch it later if you haven't seen it before. Okay? So this is pretty much, we went through all the evidence that shows it's probably Craig, right? And actually, if you want to watch the chat, there's a very good chat as well that goes on during the whole time. So I'm going to go back to the quotable Satoshi, because again, how could... So this one came out. This is what I don't like about this website. I wish I could actually... There's a lot of good quotes that are kind of cut off. And... So this is a perfect one. So someone who remained nameless said, look, there's no way this was Craig, because Craig is pro-government. Because they've now taken the BSV stance of not wanting illegal money to think that, to be the statist, right? So Craig is obviously a statist. So Craig would never say something like this, right? He would never say, governments are good at cutting off the heads of a centrally controlled network like Napster, but peer-to-peer networks like Nutella and Tor seem to be holding their own. I mean, you have to be delusional to think that Craig Wright wouldn't say this, right? Now, actually, I think he would probably walk back this Tor statement, because if you watch his presentation today, he thinks Tor is pretty vulnerable. I want to talk about this as well. So, because this is the other thing. So, the BCH camp. So the BTC camp obviously has run with the idea that all nodes matter, and that really, like miners, like you running something in your basement is part of the governance process. And then the BCH camp. I mean, this is what is remarkable to me is I don't understand the BCH position because they seem to take a middle ground. I wish I could actually, if I could pull it up off the top of my head from a tweet or something. Jonathan Tumim, at one point, he said something, I'm trying to remember it, but he basically said like, oh, BSV only got the 1 gigabyte blocks on the scaling testnet, which I don't think I've even talked about. That's how long it's been since I've done this, because there's been multiple gigabyte blocks on the scaling test network. As he said, they only did that without caring about mining pool centralization and orphans. And I said, okay, well, good thing none of those things matter because mining pool centralization isn't a thing, or isn't a real. I mean, it might be a thing, but it's not a concern. It's actually just like an economic function of Bitcoin, and then also, of course, orphans are a natural part of the system as well. So the BCH camp has kind of taken the middle road. They've kind of said like, well, you need to care about people running nodes, even Chris Pacia, all these people that really, on the grand scheme of things, have decided to make themselves irrelevant by fighting Satoshi's Bitcoin, because they think that Satoshi was wrong, and they think that you need to be able to run these nodes and you need to have this decentralization of nodes and blah 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 blah. Now, the funny thing is that, and again, no one talks about this for whatever reason, is that Satoshi flies against the BTC and BCH narratives. So Satoshi was always saying, so this is the white paper. Let's see. Only people trying to create new coins would need to run network nodes. So this is him saying specifically miners are the nodes, right? Here we go. At first, most users would run network nodes, but as the network grows beyond a certain point, it would be left more and more to specialists with server farms of specialized hardware. A server farm would only need to have one node on the network, and the rest of the LAN connects with that one node. Okay, sounds like someone that we all know. Let's see. Of course, this whole idea of Nakamoto consensus, that's a BSV only position. There's another good one in here. I anticipate there will never be more than 100,000 nodes, probably less. It will reach an equilibrium where it's not worth it for more nodes to join in. The rest will be lightweight clients, which could be millions. And this is, of course, referring to Simplified Payment Verification, or SPV. The lightweight client is not implemented yet. And lastly, thank you. The current system, where every user is a network node, is not the intended configuration for large scale. That would be like every Usenet user runs their own NNTP server. The design supports letting users just be users. The more burden it is to run a node, the fewer nodes there will be. Those few nodes will be big server farms. The rest will be client nodes that only do transactions and don't generate. All right, so I guess I know I'm repeating stuff that a lot of you probably already know, hopefully. Some of you may not. Some of you that are probably here, but the root thing here is that the idea of only miners running nodes is a Craig Wright position. It was a Satoshi Nakamoto position. And it is the position of BSV. The BCH and BTC camps do not believe that. Okay? Another perfect one would be the zero conf problem. I don't know if it will be in here, but if you go and read the vending machine thread, it's the perfect example of Satoshi Nakamoto being Craig Wright, because, of course, the only person that's been telling you that zero confirmation is not a problem is Craig Wright and the BSV camp. Okay? The BCH camp believes that zero confirmation is broken. The BTC camp believes it is broken. Someone has been saying all along that it is an economic function. Okay? And let me just check something here. Okay. And actually, if you go read the vending machine thread, I can probably pull it up here. because this is the best evidence there possibly could be. It's on the next page. Some of you may know what I'm already looking up, but how long is this going for? All right, I'll just look it up. Sheesh. Sorry, guys. If you don't get it, or all right, perfect. If you don't, I don't know. Let's see. It's just some Reddit. If you don't believe, I mean, this is remarkable. If you don't believe me or don't get it, I don't have time to try to convince you. Sorry. Satoshi Nakamoto, that's him responding to people thinking that zero confirmation and snack threads cannot work. In the vending machine thread cannot work. Now, the ironic thing is that this is what this quote was used for when I first searched it on Reddit. Or this. Holy crap, this is so stupid. All right, here we go. 10 minutes is too long to verify that a payment is good. It needs to be as fast as swiping a credit card is today. See the snack machine thread. I outline how a payment processor could verify payments well enough, actually really well, in something like 10 seconds or less. In 10 seconds or less. Who else has been saying that? And if you don't get it, I don't have time to try to convince you. Sorry. That's a very Craig Wright statement right there. Okay? I don't need to keep going through the Satoshi quotes because it's really obvious once you realize that everything that Craig Wright has been fighting for is what Satoshi Nakamoto was fighting for, right? Don't reuse keys, privacy, right? No point does Satoshi Nakamoto say that anonymity is the goal of Bitcoin. In fact, he said specifically that linking is unavoidable. And if you don't want to be linked, use a new key pair. Now, this is where he talks about as well. Banks must be trusted to hold our money and transfer it electronically, but they lend it out in waves of credit bubbles with barely a fraction in reserve. We have to trust them with our privacy. Trust them not to let identity thieves drain our accounts. Their massive overhead costs make micropayments impossible. All right, so I'm going to back up a bit. I mean, really there's nothing else to say. Satoshi Nakamoto is back, I guess. I guess we're just going to start calling him Satoshi. I don't know. I guess he's cool with that now. Whatever. I don't know if I have any other things to talk about with that aspect, unless anyone has something that they think I should cover, but probably not. And I guess I'll cover a couple of things here that is ironic to me. Okay, I don't think I ever talk about price. If you have ever listened to me, I'd never talk about the price of Bitcoin. It's not really my purpose here. Not really my goal. With all that said, there's a few ironic things that's out there, right? So everyone was saying like, oh wow, when people were cheering on the delist BSV thing that are in BSV, I'm gonna, before I even get into that, I'm gonna remind you also of this video that we did, which I encourage everyone to watch, because I actually explained pretty well what was going on when it happened. I'll put a link here as well if you want to watch that later on. I explained to you, when was this? April 18th. So over a month ago, I explained to you what was going on. And I actually never once called Craig Wright Satoshi in that entire video. I don't think I've done it except for this video today. But I told you the story about Odysseus when he comes back to Penelope at Ithaca, and he slaughters all the suitors, right? And he proves his identity from being the beggar. We told you the story of... No. Let's see. Who else did I tell you the story of? Paul Atreides of Dune. That's a great story as well. That's related, but you can you can do that on your own time. And then I told you another story that I cannot remember. But what we do come into contact with, I wish I didn't click away from that, is this narrative right here. For what it's worth, if CSW did actually sign a message or move coins with a Satoshi key, I would be much more inclined to believe he somehow stole, bought, or extorted the key than it proving anything about the Satoshi identity. I mean, you're delusional if you think that this isn't going to be the narrative if he just were to sign the key. So that's what I told Peter McCormick, and he said that was a cop-out or something. But my brain's going in many different directions. I apologize, a little scatterbrained. The reason why I'm bringing this up here is because if you actually you should be watching Craig's new website, craigwright.net. So he actually put a really interesting post up today. It's called Satoshi and Science. Okay, I'll put this in chat if you want to follow that along as well. And he talks about a lot of different things, but one of the big things he talks about is his reasoning for proving his identity of Satoshi Nakamoto in court instead of just signing keys. And this is really important. So I'll read his paragraph, then I'll kind of give you a little analogy. I'm choosing court as a means to prove my identity, as it is the correct place to determine truth. If you believe the truth is obtained through a key, then you are seeking something other than Bitcoin, which is what people such as those who created Silk Road wanted. They are the ones who took my invention and tried to flush it down the toilet and ended up getting 1% of what they deserved as a result. And yes, I believe they got off easy. Okay. Let me pull up something else real quick for you, all right? So if any of you paid attention way back when this first happened, when the whole Craig Wright saga first began. So there's this guy, Joseph Von Perlin. I'm going to not really talk about him too much. I've mentioned him in the past. He's someone who claims to have met Satoshi Nakamoto and claims that person, he met them at a hacker conference, and he claims that person was Craig Wright. Okay? This is before Bitcoin was released. Now, he mentioned something in here a long time ago, and let's see if anyone was paying attention at the time as we revisit it. This was in 2015. This was exactly when the I guess this is what, 2016, when all the drama first came out. So the main question I have right now, this is the journalist I have right now: if Wright is Satoshi, why would he publish fake proof? Any idea? I have some very good ideas. If I were in Dr. Wright's position, I would do exactly as he has done. And we're going to keep going. Give me 1 second. All right, so he shares a message, blah, blah. How does sharing that message help? He is following a wrong path because he must. He is doing it the least wrong way possible. He's on Maifu Mondo. It is as it has to be. You can Google this if you'd like. What is the wrong path and what is the right path? The world can learn much from what he has done and how. He is showing what cryptography does and does not do. It is a lesson that the world needs to learn before mass adoption can occur. Why is Bitcoin not ready for mass adoption? People do not understand what cryptography does and does not do. People do not understand pseudonymous. Having a key means you have a key. It does not mean you had it previously or that you'll have it in the future. Right, ... So, he is forced on a stage, so he provides a masterful lesson that many who call themselves cryptographers seem to have forgotten. And to keep it going. So, I mean, here, I'll put the link to this if you haven't read this. This is also very important. And I want to just mention one other thing. I want to reiterate this right here. Do your own research. Keep on your quest for knowledge. When you find someone who can teach you, listen carefully. When you find someone that can learn from you, be kind. I really like that quote, so I wanted to reiterate that here. Okay? So I'm going to give you an analogy, right? So this is the problem. So it's probably hard to connect some of the dots when Craig says things over and over again. And you're like, I don't get why he's saying this over and over again. The perfect example of this would be the code is law. Okay? So Craig keeps saying code is law is shit. I don't like code is law, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people are probably like, well, I mean, why does he keep saying it? He just keeps saying it. And many people that want to believe he's a fraud aren't understanding what he's saying. And they're not taking it to heart. Okay? So here's the root of it. Okay, so for example, let's say, all right, so perfect example. Let's say I buy a house, okay? And the contract for the house is issued on the Bitcoin blockchain, okay? And I sign the contract with a set of keys. And let's say I'm like a normal person and I store those keys on my computer at home. Let's say I'm just a 70-year-old person who has every right to buy property, regardless of whether they're using Bitcoin or they're using fiat currency. But let's say the 70-year-old person knows how to use Bitcoin. And they sign the contract with a key. And they keep the key on their computer. Okay? Now, their computer, let's say they download the newest Yahoo toolbar that has malware. And the key is stolen from their computer. If code is law, that means that whoever holds the key is in possession of what the key has access to. In what kind of world do we want to live in where if someone steals a key, they now obtain ownership over something? And this is a perfect example. If I have my Facebook account and my password gets hacked, is it now the hacker's Facebook account or is it mine? Now, of course, in Facebook world, Facebook intervenes and they determine, yes, you were hacked. This is not the hacker's Facebook account. And they might probably return you the Facebook account. What Craig has been saying is, so he says, what you're going to discover is that I am pro-law and there is no anarchy in Bitcoin. And so what this means is that, believe it or not, Satoshi Nakamoto believes in the Western tradition of law. Okay? And he had a really good quote at one point, a little while back, that said, what we are seeing today is the derision of Western law and thought. And it's trying to be replaced with what he calls anarchist, what I actually think is like more, it's more collectivist is what I see. But it's probably a mix of the two, a collectivist anarchy, where people want to erode away thousands of years of common law because they have this angsty hatred for government. Western law derives from ancient. I need to get distracted by the chat here, but I will come back to that. I will actually come back to that if you want to hear what I have to say about that. But the point I'm trying to get at here is that look, you can have your own philosophical arguments, but the truth of the matter is that Satoshi Nakamoto cared about law. He thought that there's a place for law in Bitcoin. Okay, and in reality, there's a place for law everywhere. Now, of course, if your first thought is to say, oh, well, that makes Craig a statist, you actually don't understand what he's saying. So you just said Western law derives from ancient private law. It means you're not listening. In no way did we define law. You took it to assume that it means Western law as defined by the United States. That's not at all what was said. Okay. It means that there's a place for law. It means that in the case of if someone steals the keys to my contract that I signed, it means I have recourse to still maintain ownership over my house. Now, what the anonymous trolls on the internet want is they want to be able to run malware and steal things. Like, that's what they see the future in. And what Craig is saying, and he says it very brashly, is that he is saying that what people are seeking in Bitcoin is that ultimate anonymous code is law type philosophy of, for example, I mean, this is a perfect example. It's actually in the BCH camp when they had that one person, sending those transactions that were causing issues. Someone stole the funds from their account. Now, how they did it was, of course, they guessed. I think they guessed a password or something, and then they took all the funds. But in what world do we want that to be the future of money? I don't want my grandmother, who's not good at choosing secure passwords and who is not good at, I can imagine not good at holding Bitcoin keys, to have ownership defined by who can take the keys. So I don't want to get, I think if you haven't understood the point here by now, you're probably never going to. So the root issue I'm trying to get at here is that, so why is Craig Wright not just signing with the keys? Well, he will sign with the keys. He said this actually publicly. I don't know where, I've seen him say it. I don't know where all publicly he said it, but I have seen him say, you can take my word for it, that he will sign with the keys, but only after he proves it in a court of law. It's very important to him that he proves ownership through law and not through the use of keys. And that's something that clearly was talked about a couple years ago, as I evidenced by this interview here. Now, covering a lot of different things here, but I'm going to take one step back because I was making a point about price. Not price, but so everyone was making fun of BSV people for saying that we didn't need scam exchanges, and we were in some ways actively encouraging the delist BSV movement, right? Now, I wasn't encouraging it. I just thought it was highly hypocritical of all of these anarchists and people who think that, they think all cryptocurrencies should coexist. They were actively cheering on the delisting of BSV. And the reality of it is because they understand it's a threat. They understand it's this existential threat to the kumbaya cryptocurrency ecosystem, right? But this I found really funny that, this guy, I think I actually will make a public statement. I would love, Vin Armani, for you to come back on this show. We did a very civil discussion with you a long time ago, which you then took the next day on your show to be, to say some things that I thought were out of line. And ever since then, I've not really liked you that much. But I'd like you to come back on the show and we can have an actual argument, because I think that your Twitter feed is pretty much comedy at this point. And this is what you put out the other day. The people who crow the loudest about market manipulation to the point of suing open source devs are the same people clearly manipulating the price of their coin right now. These also happen to be the same people who crow the loudest about illegal activity in Bitcoin. These people cannot fathom the fact that they're wrong enough to think that Bitcoin, as identified by Satoshi, might be worth $190 right now, right? There's no possible way that Satoshi's Bitcoin would be worth $190, right? Even though I'm sure when Vin bought his first Bitcoin, it was probably a little higher than $190, right? Now, all of this, of course, is just him speculating. The funny thing is that they're now saying that BSV is a market-manipulated coin when it's been delisted from the exchanges that manipulate all of the coins to high hell. Does anyone see the irony in these statements? These people are so caught up in the delusion, the anti-delusion of Craig Wright, that they'd have no actual logic. They're throwing logic away at the winds. I had this tab up. I'll just mention this tab. I think it's pretty crazy. So Squire is now the largest public crypto mining company. And guess what they back? Bitcoin SV. So this just was announced today. This is really, really interesting. Crazy stuff here. And boy, I am all over the place. I need Corey back. I need Corey back to keep me on track sometimes. Where was I going with all of this? I had a point to all everything I was just building up to, and then I got distracted with this tweet. I thought this tweet's so stupid, and I thought this here. Let's see. I was talking about this. Oh yeah. Well, I guess. I mean, I'll have some fun here. So here's the thing. I talked about this in the whole D-list BSV video, but give me 1 second to pull this up. I'm going to blow your mind here, okay? And you have my permission to... All right, we're going to watch a little clip. So Vin Armani here. He retweeted Peter McCormick's Craig Wright is not Satoshi thing and is a moron, okay? And if you watched my whole D-list BSV video, I talked about how all of these people actually know who Satoshi is. I think Roger Ver knows that Craig Wright is Satoshi. I think CZ Binance knows that Craig Wright is Satoshi. I think all these people that are screaming the loudest during this whole D-list BSV movement know that Craig Wright is Satoshi Nakamoto. I think that, in similar to the story of Dune, if you know the story of Dune, that's why I brought up Dune, is his return is a threat to their way of living, to their existence, okay? Their company's existence, to their philosophy, to all this other stuff, okay? So, well, why would Vin Armani say this then? Now, there's the obvious reason is because Craig Wright represents an existential threat to their philosophy of building an anarchist currency, right? An anonymous anarchist currency. They don't like that he likes law. They don't like that he cares about law. And you're probably like, well, Connor, you're just making shit up. You know, this isn't actually real. Well, am I? Because I've never publicly put this video out there, but I'm going to do it right now. Let's watch this real quick.
If you don't have internet access.
Thank you. I hope this is working. I'm just going to move
Hope you can hear
over
this.
here and get out of the way a little bit. I want to thank you all for coming, and of course, thank you for the amazing support of our product that so many of you have given us. I also want to thank the organizers, Calvin and CoinGeek, for putting on such a fantastic event.
Can you hear this? Can someone just tell me if you can hear this? Can you hear that? Anyone? Yes, I can hear that, or no, you can't hear that. Volume is a little low. I don't know how to turn up the volume. This is high, is it? I mean... Oh, I know how to do it. Give me a second, sorry. Thank you for telling me.
And for all of the hospitality that has been shown to myself and all of the presenters. So thank you guys so much for that. I'll bet that there are some old school Bitcoiners in this audience. I'm going to talk to you about Cointext, but first I want to talk a little bit about freedom, and it goes to the original vision of Bitcoin. Now I know that there are at least some old school Bitcoiners here. I mean, Craig is here somewhere, right? Raise your
he's
hand.
real old.
Yeah, raise your hand if.
Huh. Should we replay that? Let me replay that real quick.
Want to talk a little bit about freedom, and it goes to the original vision of Bitcoin. Now I know that there are at least some old school Bitcoiners here. I mean, Craig is here somewhere, right? Raise your
he's
hand.
real old.
Yeah, raise your hand if.
Huh. That was weird. Wasn't it? So if you think I'm full of it, That's why I brought this up in this video. All these people know who Craig Wright is. Okay? Now, what the problem is they can't grasp. They either one of two things. They're either in denial, which I think that's plausible. I don't think they're just like, I don't think they're evil, right? I think it's possible that they just are in denial. That how could Satoshi be this person that I didn't think he was? Right? How could Satoshi not be this cypherpunk guy that wants anonymous cryptocurrency and blah blah blah, right? Then of course there's the other position of, I'll pull up another video. So we'll watch this video as well.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I wasn't asked why I'm convinced Craig is Satoshi. I posted on Reddit. He signed in my presence using the private key from block number 1, the very first mined Bitcoin block, on a computer that I'm convinced had not been tampered with, on software I'm convinced that had not been tampered with, a message of my choosing. And so that kind of sealed the deal for me, convincing me that he does have that private key. My interactions with him feel like this is the inventor of Bitcoin. I remind everybody he's human. I'm sure he makes mistakes like we all do. I'm sure he's made some mistakes in the past. And he wants his privacy. So I'm going to draw a line. If you ask me questions about this, I draw the line at, I will explain why I'm convinced. I will not go into like personal details of the discussion that I had with him.
Just to sow a bit of controversy for fun, I'll explain why I think he's probably not Satoshi.
2 minutes.
I mean, first of all, very, very simple signaling theory. He had the opportunity to take 2 different paths of proving that he's him. One path would have been to make that exact kind of proof, make a signature from the first Bitcoin block, put the signature out in public, make a very simple 10-line blog post that anyone, including people, including cryptographers like Dan Bonet and Ben Kaminsky and so forth, can verify that it's him, and just post that out there and let the cryptographic community do it. Instead, he's taken this path where he's wrote this big long blog post with 200 lines that's so confusing that even Dan Kaminsky said it's too confusing, and tried to only show that signature to a few select people, and we're supposed to trust them. So, in general, signaling theory says if you have a good way of proving something and a noisy way of proving something, and you choose the noisy way, then that means chances are that means it's because you couldn't do the good way in the first place.
Okay.
All right, so then of course they end the panel there, but I wanted to address that piece as well. So, let's reason through the logic here. The logic again is that things are going to be done, that Satoshi Nakamoto has to adhere to the standards set by people like Vitalik, who openly think that code is law. They openly believe that keys are identity. Well, they may not understand that, but that's what the conclusion of what they believe is. Okay, now do I think Vitalik, again, do I think these people are like maliciously like, oh, it can't be Craig Wright? No, I think that Craig Wright has offended them to so much a degree. Sorry, that was funny. I think he's offended them to such a degree that they can't wrap their head around this being true. Okay. Now, and of course, we ignored the fact that Vitalik started his own cryptocurrency and is, of course, threatened by Bitcoin being Turing complete and scaling and making Ethereum look like the blip on the radar that it will be in the next 10 to 20 years, right? So you have to understand there's conflicts of interest here. And again, I covered all of this in this video, this D-list BSV video. It was completely covered in this video. I don't think I could have done a better job here in really helping you understand what was going on here, okay? The Grand Inquisitor, that was the last example as well. Now, I hate to make this whole thing about Satoshi. I've had a lot of fun just calling Craig Satoshi all day. That really bothers people, huh? Which out of respect, I've not done. I hope that's also very clear. I've not done that in forever, ever actually. So it's kind of still weird to me that we're all just openly going to say it now, because it's true. Anyway, so there's a lot of other projects that were here. I didn't get to see the whole conference, and unfortunately, I couldn't rewind the live stream. But I did want to call out like the 3 projects that won the. It's gonna be hard for me to get details without actually. There was Uptime SV, I believe was the first one. Don't think they have like a website or anything that I can look at unless I. But this was an awesome. Here you go. Thank you, Alex, for tweeting this. So you can actually go to their website. They do have a website. I didn't get it to work earlier, but I don't know if I was just screwing up here. But basically, the purpose of this product is going to be, well, why would I pay for cloud storage, or why would I pay for someone to host my website when I can host on the blockchain and it's cheaper and it's there forever, right? This is obviously a great product idea to anybody that has already understood the potential for MetaNet in the future. There was also, oh boy, my AC just turned on. Let me turn that off for you, hand. I'll mention, I'm just going to keep going as much as I can through this conference. I mean, the conference was really interesting to watch. So this was Crypto Fights. If you haven't seen that, they showed off a demo of a video game being played on, the AC will go off in a second. I apologize. Pretty much every action was recorded on the blockchain, which is awesome. And they even talked about the security around that, like how you can improve gaming security by doing that and all that kind of stuff. So Uptime SV, here's another picture of it. Boy, it's getting hard to find. Unfortunately, the videos aren't out. I was thinking about waiting to do this because the videos aren't out. I'll cover all these products because I can't even tell you what Paymail is because I don't have a full video of it. But anyway, not important. Well, it is important because it sounds like it's gonna be awesome. But I don't want to talk about something that I don't know about, unfortunately, right? So I'm gonna I think I'm rambling at this point. Not really. Don't remove this video later. I will not be removing this video later. I don't know why you think I would be. Why are you using your clothes washing machine while making a live stream? Yeah, sorry about that. It's off now. Uptime SV is for DDoS hardening. Okay, thank you. See, again, I didn't get to see the whole. I mean, I was fortunate to get to see all of the videos, so I thought it's not for both. This is the problem when I talk about things I don't know about, so I'll wait. I'll go ahead and wait to talk about these products or projects and stuff. But anyway, it sounded really exciting. I'm excited to watch all the rest of the videos. I'm at 50 minutes here, so unless there's something I should be talking about, I'm probably going to end this. I think I've said all I need to say here. But maybe the very last thing that I'll mention is I'm going to make this, I guess, pretty clear, okay? I've been trying to get people to argue with me. Check that out. Timestamp 13. No, I did not get a link. So you said check that out. Timestamp 1356. I didn't get a link. I don't know if it deleted your link or what. Thank you for the kind words, everyone else. I will play that if someone can send that to me. Maybe you can DM me on Twitter or something. All right. Thank you. Would you like to give a quick summary of every service that uses SV? So this is the problem. There's actually too many. I'm falling behind if I don't do this every week. And the problem is when I do this every week, I don't want to just talk about the projects. Like I feel like there's another channel that does that. The SV channel kind of just does that, right? But there's so many. So I'll go off the top of my head, and this is the problem. Is everything really is like it's kind of ridiculous how much stuff is happening each day, and that's what was pretty much talked about in the conference, right? Let me see if I can find you this project that just came out. So Audio B, so this is really cool. So audiob.app. So actually I'll demo this right now real quick. Let's see here. Documents. Sorry, I'm just trying to find a... Oh, all right, well, this will work. I'll upload our interview with Alex from Handcash. So what this is going to do is not post this on the blockchain. It's going to post a hash to the blockchain. I do not have cover art. That's pretty sick, though. I should do that. And let's see. Oh, I can charge a price. Let's see, 25 cents. And I'll give my money button ID. Whoa. My money button account is worth a lot more than it was the other day. That's cool. Let's see. What is my ID? Yes, I am the creator. So you can see here. So I'm ready to upload. So what I pay the storage costs of the hash. Okay. A publishing fee. That's obviously because they are a company. And what I'll receive per purchase. My list price, bandwidth costs, sale commission, because they are storing. So I will make no money because listeners will pay 77 cents. So I'm just going to make that $1 then. Let's see if I can make any money now. Oh, I'll make 15 cents, okay? So it cost me $1.40 to upload the file. So it's going to upload the file to their own server. All right, so I have a video here, so let's see. All right, so view audio page. So you can see here it's uploaded and ready for playback. So, ta-da. There's a hash in the blockchain. So now anyone that listens, so I can prove identity to me. And they've claimed that they're going to, or they said that they're going to integrate this with Paymail. So if you really think about the potential of this, well, the audio isn't on-chain. If the hash is on-chain, we can prove ownership. So if someone tries to upload this later on, we can figure out that it's not actually theirs, right? I can download, so it's all going here. So I can even tip the uploader. So this is awesome. audiob.app. I really like this idea. I think they have the right idea just hashing content right now. I think that's a good idea.
Now, and
kind of saying that it's a lot easier to build. So yeah, that's awesome. All right, so we'll pull up this video. So someone said to pull this at 1358. So
if you are, storing Bitcoin as an asset, you want to see the technology focus on that. And I think there's a lot of tension in the Bitcoin world between people who have these kind of two different views of what is Bitcoin for. And then, of course, there's a whole third use of Bitcoin that's also taken off that has affected the technology, and that's using using Bitcoin not as a cash, not as a currency, but using the fact that there is this global public ledger. There's this record of transactions that have happened, and then kind of tying other assets or tying other information onto those transactions is something that's really taken off over the last couple of years. And that's kind of yet another third set of people who think, this Bitcoin as a money doesn't really matter. We think Bitcoin will be used as this ledger where you record, I don't know, stock trades or issue stock on the blockchain and then pay dividends using the blockchain. Kind of a digital bearer token for any kind of token that you might want.
Yeah, that's another area Wall Street has been getting involved in recently. It seems is just the technology of it, not only just the asset as like a hedge, but also.
Yeah, that's interesting. So he was talking about. I'm actually going to tweet that out. Thanks for sending me that. That's cool. Yeah, he pretty much gets it, right? So, Gavin gets it. That's for sure. Oh, here we go. Thank you. So. Someone said, you forgot about, sorry to be a wet blanket. Writing a description for this thing for general audiences is bloody hard. There's nothing to relate it to. That's a Satoshi Nakamoto quote. And then listen to this timestamp. So I'm going to go in blind again. Let's see.
Actually, the market is going to vote with their bloody bitcoins.
There we go. So you're going to fix Satoshi guy.
There was a second part of your question. So can you answer the second question about hard forking?
That is the governance model of Bitcoin. If you don't like it, you change the code by hard fork. And if people follow you, you win. If you don't, you lose money. That's called capitalism, folks. Bitcoin is capitalist. It is not socialist. It was never, ever, ever designed to be socialist. It can't be. The bigger your node is, the more the edges you hold. That is a matter of economics. If you have a bigger node than the guy next door with a Raspberry Pi, you get better connectivity. Yes?
All right, yeah, and everyone, let's talk through these so we can record this for possible.
Yeah, I think I got the point. I think you were probably referencing the market will vote with their bloody Bitcoins, maybe. Yeah, he's Australian. So actually, this is great. So I'll put a link here. Looks like you can actually watch all the videos on Vimeo. Thank you for sending me this, whoever just sent that. I just saw you there. So they're all uploaded and you can watch them all. So that's fantastic. I'm probably going to go do that now. So, all right. So I'll respond real quick to someone. I want to know why you can call him that officially now, referring to why can I call Craig Wright Satoshi officially now? Okay, well, it's very, very simple, actually. If you are listening to this. So again, I made this entire hour-long video where I talk through all of the evidence. Okay? So this was all pretty clear from a while ago as to what was going on here to me. Now, there's more evidence, actually, than in this hour-long video. So it's tough for me to boil down an hour-long video for you. And it could be done in text. But you should watch this video. I pretty much just talk about the timeline of Craig Wright's involvement with Bitcoin. So removing whether you think he's Satoshi or not, you can see he at least owned Bitcoins and was using Bitcoins and telling the Australian tax office that he was using Bitcoins as early as 2009. So that's the very root of it, if you just look at it from a timeline perspective. And then if you look at the rest of it in whole, you get another grander picture. So this is nothing new. It's not like anything happened today that convinced me. It's more so that, awesome. Thank you for, I'm actually glad I thought to address this because this is the other thing I wanted to get at today. This is fantastic. Thank you. I'm glad I didn't forget to do this. This is how I'm going to end the show. So Craig Wright has obtained a copyright for the Satoshi Nakamoto pseudonym, or sorry, for the white paper and the code under the Satoshi Nakamoto pseudonym. He's obtained the copyright. So don't listen to any of the fake news that says he only registered for it or whatever else. He obtained the copyright. Someone else has now registered for the copyright, and Craig says he's going to sue them. It's like that Way guy, the person that Peter McCormick is, is mimicking. Now, sorry, I need to stop getting distracted. People are messaging me a lot of stuff. Craig Wright just went on a public stage in front of the world and said, I created Bitcoin. I am Satoshi Nakamoto. Blah, 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 blah. Everyone that thinks Craig Wright is a fraud is getting handed on a silver platter the keys to take this guy down. He's trying to go to court to prove he's Satoshi Nakamoto. He's made public statements saying he is Satoshi Nakamoto. He has to be the dumbest person on the planet if he's lying. Do you people understand this? To answer your question, Wei Dai helped him, not the way that people are saying register that copyright. So, even if you don't think that law is important, Craig is setting himself up to go to jail if he's lying to everybody. You people are not understanding this. So, I'm going to end it there. I'm just going in circles at this point. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the kind words. And I'm going to, again, there's so much things to cover. I don't know how I can do it all myself, to be honest with you. If anyone has interest, I'll leave that alone for now. Thank you guys for watching. I will be publishing more stuff soon. I have a lot more stuff to do. A lot of stuff I want to do. I have a really cool idea I'm interested in starting as well that I think is going to work out. I know I say this all the time, so it just sounds like empty crap that I'm saying again. Let us call in and talk to you. Dude, give your input. I'm fine with that, actually. Let us call into the show and talk to you. I just don't know how I would set that up. I would need to get like a burner phone, which I guess I could do pretty easily. Or I could do a Hangouts thing. So if people wanted to call in on video, and the thing is, I need to save this thing from getting derailed. In fact, I put out open offers to people that are anti-SV. I really want to get anti-SV people on the show, more so than I want pro-SV people. I don't want to turn this into a like a cheerleading hangout link is better. Yeah, thank you. I don't want to just turn it like a cheerleading video. Omri has blocked me on Twitter. I'm just gonna respond to this chat for a minute, and then I'll hang up the thing here. This Max guy is an idiot. Yeah, so what you call in, I like the idea. I might do it, but I'm actually more interested in people that are anti-SV to call in. That's what I would want, because I want to dismantle the rest of the cryptocurrency ecosystem. That's what I'm more interested in than like everyone getting around and circle jerking. You know what I'm saying? Not that that's what you're saying is going to happen. Hope we all do social media on the chain soon. Here's the live stream link if that works. Hopefully my links work. Why was Paul Leroux's name redacted from the court docs? Very good question, but we all know who he is. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. So Max, are you willing to come on? I'll actually invite you on right now if you'd like. Max, this Max X guy that has his profile picture as Craig Wright. You are welcome to actually join and actually tell me why I'm wrong. Yeah, that's fair. So I'm it's fair. Max X, do you want to come on? He's probably gone now. He's probably gonna be gone. All right, so that's all there is to. What was Nick Szabo's involvement? Nick Szabo is a fraud. You bring up Nick Szabo. This is hilarious. This guy is a walking. Nick Szabo is not a fraud, but he did not create Bitcoin. He was just playing with Bitgold for fun. No, he created Bitgold. That's true. That's all he did. He didn't create Bitcoin. Here you go, Max. I'll show you a video. I'll do you a favor.
Well, this is really exciting for me.
We're anonymizing things.
Opportunity I think will continue to be cross-border application.
Have centuries in the future. I think that technology could actually be used to
A way to get people to actually want to engage.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of selling marketing Bitcoin is that because of the last mile challenge for and be more secure than gold.
And Dr. Craig, did you want to say something about that?
Right.
He just said you're wrong.
Here we go.
Tracks
Sorry about that.
can actually be done directly in Bitcoin and the Bitcoin protocol. It's just going to take time for people to understand it.
Since you mentioned Nick, then I'm going to allow him to respond to that. You need your microphone though, sweet. Or the water.
No, that I have not heard that opinion before. I've never heard anybody call the Bitcoin script Turing complete. I don't believe that's accurate.
He just said you're wrong.
The difference is the script itself isn't. What you can do is you have in fork a control loop. So the looping function is separate to the actual loop, the script itself.
Yeah, I mean that's an esoteric thing. If it's not Turing complete, then it's not a general purpose language like Ethereum, regardless of
But that would
that
assume
partial
that the only way of actually
type of
writing code would be to do it directly in a script that runs on the machine.
Okay, so do you have another option?
Well, this would be a good topic for you to write a paper on because that's certainly an unconventional view you have. So.
And
Yeah, so that's Nick Szabo not understanding Bitcoin as much as Craig Wright does. So there you go. I'm going to end it on that. Thank you for watching and all that kind of good stuff, and I will see you later.